We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite.
Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles!
Swinging a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes!
Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
What up? But it's me forgetting to unmute. There we go. We're still working out the kinks here. We got the guys here. We're going to be talking all things Eagles draft, but we've got Joe.
God. Oh, there we are. There we are.
There it is.
Sorry.
Holy.
It's got to be our connection from Palm Beach, Florida, if I'll let you know.
Oh, listen.
Guys, Joe's wearing pants.
Yeah, we were supposed to just be talking about that before the show, but hey, whatever, it's okay. Now everybody knows, yeah.
Joe's got pants on.
Yep, our reading
Joe has pants on.
We're gonna be shown on like that weird side of YouTube, and you're gonna get a lot of followers, Joe.
Yeah.
So you should plug yourself.
I'm
just
concerned.
saying. You should
Joe,
plug yourself.
Definitely concerned.
Stop. Oh, God. Oh, well, gentlemen, we're talking all things Birds tonight. I mean,
Yeah, buddy.
you got the Phillies and Braves are battling it out. I got it on the second screen here, but it's
Yeah, buddy.
we're gonna talk all things draft. This will be the draft preview show, so we're gonna kind of dial into some. Rich has been doing the furiously playing the mock draft simulator, so we'll go over some of the picks and selections and see kind of
Doing the GM role, baby. We're all GMs now, guys. This is what we're doing. We're in Howie Roseman fucking mindset. And Joe, I was telling Don beforehand, my one mock draft, Tyler Warren was there, but I got offered a 1, a 2 for that pick for next year, and they drafted Tyler Warren, and I fucking took it. You know why? Because I'm Howie Roseman. We got 2 number 1s next year, hypothetically, in my first mock draft. That's all I'm saying. You're welcome, Philadelphia. You're welcome.
Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome. Sometimes it's chocolate, sometimes it's vanilla. It just depends on what you like.
Sometimes it's both.
Sometimes it's both.
sometimes it's both.
Sometimes it's both.
Where's we got chocolate? What this show we're doing. This will be the draft will take place first. The first night of the draft will take place 2 weeks from tonight.
Yep.
4th. Obviously, because the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they're going to pick at 32.
Yep.
All right. We know Howie Roseman's going to make moves.
Yes.
We also know that like the talent pool in the middle of this draft is the way that this draft is set up is kind of weird, right? Because there's not like there's not like this pile of superstars at the top of the draft, right? You've got a handful of guys that are, I would argue with you, you're gonna like we already kind of know the writings on the wall with Cam Ward going to being the number 1 pick. Some combination of Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. I'm curious to see how that situation plays out.
Yeah.
At the top of the draft, and then how that kind of cascades into the rest of the conversation.
Yep.
What are your thoughts at the top of the draft?
I'm really hoping that Abdul Carter goes to the Giants. Because it would just be
Really?
great. Yeah, because I think it would be great that, after his tenure's done there and we steal him from the Giants, it's just another loss for them. So that's my hope.
Hopefully.
That is my hope because the Giants continue to fumble the bag. So if Carter goes there, it's an easy ride down the turnpike for him to come watch playoff games and wear his Eagles jersey because he ain't ever going to be playing in any. But yeah, no, I think it's clear cut. I think you have your three, and I do think it's going to be Cam Ward to Tennessee, and then you're going to see Travis Hunter go two, and then you're going to see Abdul Carter go three, and then honestly, it's a crapshoot from there. You can have Will Johnson go four, or Mason Graham. You could have Sanders. I mean, it really is just a fucking crapshoot.
Yeah.
After those guys, and then Genti. Uh, it'd be hilarious if he goes to the Raiders, because the Raiders have a lot of pieces that they need. But
Right.
again, not a smart organization, so I could see him wasting it on Ashton and then just running him into the fucking ground. Um, and it's funny because he's such a beast, but looking at his height and weight, it's reminiscent of something. And I'm going to throw a name out there because I know I was very big on him for fantasy reasons. But another guy who was 5'9" and was drafted by a better team, coming off a good college team, running back, was about 205 to 210 and fizzled out completely. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? This is in the past 5 years. Came from LSU.
Oh,
Oh man.
He was an absolute stud in college.
he went to LSU.
He went to LSU. He was drafted by the Chiefs.
Oh, that's
Was taken like
he's
number
got the height.
5
Hold on.
overall in
He's
fantasy. Yep,
Clyde
Clyde
Edwards Helaire.
Edwards-Helaire.
He was. I mean, he was good, but I think he got injured, and then
was
he just fell off the face of the earth.
he was
Joe, I
so
would
hyped.
argue with you. He was good adjacent. Right.
Yeah.
He was good when he was at LSU because of who else was at LSU.
Yeah, at the time.
He got to the Chiefs and got exposed.
Yep.
And he never really,
Never
if we're
rebounded.
being honest, he never really amounted to pretty much anything.
Anything. No. I just think that's funny when you look at the size comparison between them two. And
Mhm.
Ashton Genty only has 5 to 10 pounds on him when he came out into the draft. I'm like, ooh. And plus, he's going to go to a bad team anyway, so he's going to get beat the fuck up. It doesn't matter.
Like, and the other thing that he's got a ton of wear and tear.
We
Like,
talked
he's got
about it. He's
he's
miles
got
for
a
days.
lot.
Yep.
And
He got a lot of usage, and that would make me super hesitant. Right, the thought of pairing him right in with the Raiders, right? The thought of pairing him with Brock Bowers, right? It is enticing, but
Yeah.
I think when you take a step back for those teams that are picking at the top of the draft, there's a reason why they're picking at the top of the draft because they continually make stupid ass decisions.
Yeah.
And and I would argue with you the team that's picking second, if they take Travis Hunter, is going to make that same mistake. They're going to be so
1,000%.
enticed by the thought of having Travis Hunter play, both sides of the ball. And if you had the opportunity to pair Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett, that is like an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. And it's funny, I just ran what happened to Joe?
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey, Joe. I was going to say, I just ran the simulator again because I
Okay.
wanted to see like what their projected was. And
Gotcha.
it came down to our pick, and the Browns offered us a trade. Ronnie Hickman, next year's number 1 overall, and their second and their third pick for our 32. So I'm going to smash accept that. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it really like at the top of the draft, like I'm looking just at this bullshit now. If you have, I think the worst thing Cleveland can do is draft Travis Hunter, but the talent level is so elite. if they do go Carter, I mean, that would be insane with him and Miles Garrett. But their offense is never going to be able to move the ball. They don't have a running back. Jerry Jeudy is their number one. They're outside of Jerry Jeudy, there's nobody besides Njoku, and their offensive line is not good. So if they want
Rich,
to load
that's
up,
why I would argue with Abdul Carter, though. Like,
yeah,
Travis Hunter is not going to be he is not worth 6, 7, 8 wins with what he does on offense. And I would tell you, he's probably going to play more. If I am drafting him, I want him playing defense more than I need him playing offense. Like, he can be like a gadget guy, and he can be a guy that, you get on the field. But he, to me, is an every down. He's an every down player on defense.
I can see that. Like I can honestly see Abdul Carter going there. But I can also see them taking Travis Hunter because Travis Hunter is getting that. But honestly, I'm also not 100% sold that they don't take Gianti either at running back. I don't know what the Browns are going to do because the Browns are so fucking dumb. They kind of make it. They can do whatever they want, and it's going to be the wrong decision because they have so many holes. And when Kenny Pickett is your QB1 right now, it's kind of daunting there. But if you have Cam Ward go and then Abdul Carter, and then they had the Giants taking Kelvin Banks and Travis Hunter going to the Patriots, which I could see. I think that's a better fit for Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I would love that for him.
And then they have Sanders going 5 to Jacksonville.
Okay.
Which I is that me? Is that my mic?
That might be you. Sound like we're tuning in Tokyo.
It's not me because I muted myself. That wasn't me.
Joe, is that you?
I don't have anything blocking my audio.
I
don't. Hey.
Yeah, it's you, Joe.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
Yeah. But yeah, Rich, I think that to me that is that me too?
I think it's you, Don.
Oh shit. All right.
Stay tuned for technical difficulties.
Probably going to be hitting the edit button on this one. Is that any better?
Yeah, way better.
All right. That was probably my headphones. Who knows?
So essentially what we're talking about is the NFL draft and how it's going to play out and how the Browns are going to fuck everything up. So when the Browns decide to take Travis Hunter or the Browns decide to take Abdul Carter, it really doesn't matter because of how many holes that they have. They could have a perfect draft and they still won't make the playoffs because of how far behind that organization is just because of Deshaun Watson.
Gotcha.
And the money that they spent. Then you're also paying $40 million to Miles Garrett. Jerry Jeudy's probably going to want a contract after his big year that he had, and if he has a big year again this year.
Yeah.
But you also have no offensive line. So the Browns are going to Browns, and it's whatever. Then you have the Giants. The Giants need every position. Every position.
The Giants really doesn't matter, right? Like the Giants, you could go legit any position. Like it's not even worth saying like, oh, what's their biggest need? They need everything, right? This one that I'm looking at has them passing on Abdul Carter and taking a tackle from Missouri.
Oh, the tackle from Missouri.
And like that, I'm like that to me is not where I would go. I think if you have an opportunity to get like a generational talent like Abdul Carter, I think that's something that you don't ever.
They have him taking Armand Membu.
Yeah.
That's funny because they actually have them taking on this Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle from Texas at their.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. But like outside of that, though, Rich, I feel like once you get past those top couple guys, you're legit. It's going to be a smorgasbord of like anything and everything. And like that's where I'm like, I look at this, right? Like they have Jacksonville, like in this one that I'm looking at, they have Jacksonville taking Mason Graham. They
Yeah.
have Ashton Genty going to the Raiders. Territorial McMillan to the Jets. Michael Williams from Georgia to the Panthers. Like it could legit go in a million different reasons, but I think the fact that in this mock you have that I'm looking at, they have at number 10 the tight end from Michigan, Colston Loveland, going before Tyler Warren.
Oh wow, that would be
Which I
interesting
don't
to see. I don't agree with that.
no, and I'm scrolling down to try to find where they don't have Tyler Warren going until 20. I think if you saw
For the
Tyler Warren,
Broncos, that would be tough.
right, but if you see him, flip to that, I think Joe.
Hey Joe.
Hey.
Yeah, it was also my headphones and my mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, unfortunately, late breaking news. I am not wearing pants.
This just in, Joe took his pants off, and Joe, who
So
knew that it
yeah,
was the
our
pants causing
viewership is going to go
interference?
right in the toilet.
Where are my pants?
Bag the pants.
So it was you, Don.
It was also me.
But yeah,
Okay.
but you also sound way clearer,
Yeah.
Joe.
I'm good.
This
Okay,
is better.
cool. Hopefully it stays that way.
Hey, listen, we just keep trying.
Yeah.
We just keep going.
But Joe, when we were talking about the fact that like you after those top couple guys, right after the combination of like Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and Abdul Carter, like it really is like a crapshoot for it could go in a million directions depending on what team's doing what.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's when you're not a winning team, when you're really trying to just pull yourself out of the abyss. A lot of these teams are they might go for the sexy pick, they might not go for the need. If a team needs an offensive lineman, they're look at the Raiders. The Raiders probably need some offensive line help, but they're probably they're the kind of team that make that sexy pick and take a guy like Genty. Just because he's he's going to put butts in seats. I mean, the guy's the Heisman, and just he killed it, and he was a top, the best back in the league. So
Yeah.
it's it's you really don't know. It's a free for all. I mean, and we talked about the Titans. My cousin Dave, who we had on the show before, and I'm like, what's the word out of down there? It's like it's the ownership down there, and they're probably going to go. They're probably going to go Ward. He's like that's pretty much what he's heard from everybody down there. But I mean, if you like we had talked before, if you put Cam Ward in last year's quarterback draft, he probably isn't a top
Yeah.
5 quarterback. So it's about these teams are reaching. They're desperate and they make desperate moves.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's only 2 quarterbacks basically going in the first round, from everything that I saw, and that's literally the top 2 guys, Cam and Sanders. That's it.
Right.
And then
Jackson Dart maybe.
yeah, I don't
Could be
see
a
him
reach.
going.
Steelers.
He would be a reach for the Steelers, but that is so reminiscent of Kenny Pickett.
Very much so.
And I don't think they're going to make the same mistake on reaching because they're like, we really, really got to get this guy. It would just be the same mistake that they did with Kenny Pickett when they were drafting in the back of the first, and they're like, "Fuck, we need a guy, Pickett," and it's just like, nah, that was everybody's like, "What the fuck?" Like, why would you draft him? But I mean, I don't. Again, bad organizations stay bad. I'm not saying the Steelers are a bad organization, but they literally put themselves in this position. They haven't had Ben Roethlisberger, who was their franchise quarterback for what 12 years.
Yeah.
Longer than that. Haven't had him in 5-6 years. And look at the fucking quarterbacks that they pranced out there. The Mason Rudolph experiment multiple times. I forget the other dude. I think Josh Dobbs was there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. I mean, another organization that just can't hit at quarterback. Will they make the same mistake and get Dart? Maybe. I
Yeah.
mean, he was decent. I don't know how he's going to compare him to the
He's not a
pros.
first round talent.
No,
I mean,
he's not a first round talent.
Not at all.
But Joe, if there's anything that teams will reach for,
It's quarterbacks.
it'll be a quarterback.
It'll be a quarterback.
And I was reading something today about there are some teams and some organizations that are a little higher on Jackson Dart than they are Shador Sanders.
That is dumb. I'm not a big Sanders fan, but that's dumb.
When you look at the offense that he was playing in, like he's got a beautiful deep ball.
Yeah.
But the offense that they were running in Colorado, I mean, he was running for his life most of the time, right? Not sitting in the pocket making reads.
Yeah.
He needs, if I'm being honest, he needs to go to a spot where he can sit and not play right away, and like maybe just like even if it's just for a year.
Yeah.
Where's an ideal spot for him?
For who? Jackson Dart?
No, Shador.
Shador? I mean, an ideal spot for him.
Oof.
What's the best spot?
The best spot that he can land in.
I mean, regardless of where that team's picking, where's the ideal spot for him?
I would probably say the Saints or Miami.
Yeah.
Probably the two places that if I'm a team. And I mean, let's be real. I love Tua, love the talent, can't stay healthy, and still again 1 hit away. You can kind of get off the hook with that Tua contract and move him to somebody else, because it's not too bad. So if they wanted to move on from him and let Sanders sit behind there, and you have all those weapons and all that speed on offense, a 13, I think that's a great spot. To be honest with you, I wouldn't put it past Dallas if he does fall for Dallas to pick him and have him sit behind Dak. And then this way they can try to finagle a contract. But Dak's making $45 million and he's, over 30. I don't know who wants to really take on that extension. But I would say Miami or probably the Saints, because the Saints are rebuilding anyway. Tom Brady said it best. These guys, some of them need a fucking clipboard in their hands, sit and learn. But the problem is they're so rushed to be on the field, especially when these bad teams are drafting. I mean, you could even say the Giants and let him sit there and be the 3 behind Jameis and Russ.
Yeah.
Like, why not? But again, I don't know if they're two guys you really want to learn from.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, is that really the room that you want him in? Like so the spot that I thought for him, right? This is a team that's going to, at this point, pick at 22 is the Rams, right? Like, let him like sit behind Stafford, right? Hang out with Sean McVay for, an off season or two. And there's no rush to get him on the field until that contract with Stafford is done.
Wait, the Rams are picking 26. The Chargers are picking 22.
Oh, this is, I'm looking at this. This is via a trade.
Oh, gotcha.
But the Rams are a team that I would like for him.
I could see that because
Right.
Stafford's not going to be around much longer, and you'll have Puka, and at least you have a good coach. You have a good coach. It's a better locker room, and that's exactly what you're saying. I'm looking at the bottom of this. Do you want him in the Tennessee Titans? No. Put Cam Ward in there because Cam Ward's going to fucking destroy Will Levis. You're whatever. Do you want him in Cleveland's locker room? Fuck no.
No.
Do you want him in the Giants locker room? Fuck no. Patriots not going to take him. Jacksonville? Maybe. Who's their head coach? The guy from fucking Buccaneers? The Buccaneers play caller? They stole that dude.
Maybe. I don't remember.
I don't think I want a rookie head coach with a rookie quarterback. No, thank you. The Raiders? Fuck no. The Jets? Fuck no. Carolina? Bryce Young's been playing better.
Right.
The Saints is kind of your best bet because at least
Yeah.
you have Kellen Moore and Derek Carr might show you how to not get your fucking players killed. Like, hey man, maybe don't throw it over the middle super high and make Chris Olave jump and get fucking decapitated.
Yeah, I think when you look around and you look at teams that could potentially be moving on from guys in the next year or two, right? Those are really good spots between those three teams. Between the Saints, Miami, and the Rams. That Joe, is there a team that we're not thinking of?
No, I think from what I've heard and just the overall the sound and the feel, it's probably going to be New Orleans or a high percentage chance it could be New Orleans. Just because of the need. I don't know how they're going to finagle Derek Carr's contract, but I would imagine they would try to get him off the books as soon as possible because they're in cap hell down in New Orleans. So, but I think that's probably the best scenario, the best fit for him.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, a team could come out of the woodwork, and the name and everything that comes with that, they might want to just they would want to buy into something like that. That's why you see a team like I mean the Raiders did go out and sign Geno Smith, but I could see the Raiders doing something goofy like that, just for the splash move, the sexy move. But I mean, if I really had to pick the higher percentage chances, I think he goes to New Orleans.
What if he goes to the Bears?
Not, no chance.
Listen,
Well, then if he goes to the Bears, then they're trading Williams.
That's what I'm saying. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Oh,
New coaching staff, right?
yep,
Not my guy. I didn't draft this dude, right? How many
yep.
times have we heard that
a lot.
from Ben Johnson might be like, yo, this dude's not my guy. Like he can't run what I want to run.
Yeah.
But Sanders can. Like how fucking nutty would that be?
You
If
never know with these shit teams.
you don't. And that's the thing. You don't know
That's why
what
they continue to be shit teams.
exactly. Like that's what cracks me up. It's like I wouldn't put it past the Bears doing that. Ben Johnson being the offensive genius that he is goes, I can't do this with Caleb. I'd rather do this with Sanders. So I'm going to run my offense with Sanders. We'll trade Caleb Williams somewhere else. Because did he look good last year at all, Caleb Williams? Absolutely not. Can you say it was a product of the play calling, the coaching? Yeah,
Yeah,
but he can be like, he didn't look like a fucking number one overall pick.
right.
Let's give him to somebody else. Let's see if Dallas wants him, and they pony him off somewhere else, or maybe the Saints go, hey, all right, you just drafted him, then let me get Williams from you. Like, I just don't like you said. Bad teams stay bad for stupid shit like this because we're saying all these hypotheticals, but one of these teams is actually going to make that happen, which is dumb.
Yeah, one of them is going to do something stupid.
One of them is going to.
Yeah,
I
like,
guarantee 4 teams do something stupid.
Why would the Giants sign 2 backup quarterbacks?
Yeah, I don't know.
What? Well, no. Why would the Giants bring back Dable? Well, I think Dable is the lesser evil of showing the general manager. Like, what? Like, no, people don't want to come. People don't want to go to New York
No.
specifically because of him. Russ went there because they gave money and because he still wants to play and he still wants to start. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason he went there. He didn't go there for the GM. He went there because he wanted to be a starting quarterback, but because nobody else was gonna do that. But that's the Giants are a disaster. There's a lot of teams that are a disaster, and that's why they're picking in the top 5 and the top 10 and the top 15. So
Every fucking year.
every year it's a vicious cycle. Like then there's no light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of these teams. So Will Levis was you look back at Will Levis when he was drafted. People were saying he could have been the first quarterback taken. Then then he falls out of the top 10. Then he falls out of the top 20. And him and his they panned up pictures of him and his girlfriend. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'm not going to get drafted in the first round. So it's crazy. And then
Yeah.
and then they brought him in there thinking that he was gonna save the day, and we see how poorly that's ended up. So
Now they have the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
and here we are again.
Right.
Here we are.
And wait, so most likely scenario, they trade up, they trade it down, or they stay and pick at 32.
Depending who's there, but they're most likely going to trade back.
Yeah, I think they trade back. I mean, they've got the stockpile of picks, but I think a good amount of their picks are in the middle to later round. I mean, they have a bunch of fifth round picks. I mean, I mean, unless a guy is within a few spots of where they are, um, I think they would pull the trigger on it. But how he wants to load up, on picks, and for next year and the following years, just so he can use them to draft or use them in a trade. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and
well,
right now, right, they're going to pick at 32, 64, 96, and 134. And then, Rich, you were talking about it right before we got started. They've got 5 fifth-round picks, all within a couple picks of each other. They're going to pick
Yeah.
at 161, 164, 165, and 168.
Yep.
And the chances that they stay static are like next to nothing. I think the chances are that you're going to see them. The last time that they had this pick at 32 is when they traded with Baltimore, and Baltimore came up and picked Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a team that doesn't want, now that they've moved round 2 to the second day, there's going to be a team at the top of that second round that doesn't want to wait, and they're going to move up. And I
Yep.
think I could envision a scenario where they trade from 32 and they go to like 35, 36, because the guys at those spots are marginal, right? The difference between those guys at between 32 and 35, 36 are like next to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mhm.
all right, what's the most likely position that gets picked? If we're talking first round, they're not even first round. Their first pick.
I think it's from just the feel and the vibe, and if you look at, I mean, you look at all these mock drafts. I think it's probably either D lineman or safety.
I agree. It's or Howie's track record. I don't think they really go offensive line in the first if it's there. I think they go safety or defensive lineman or edge. I just think safety is the need. So go get it. Like, go fucking get it.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Mm.
I think that O-line is something that they are looking really, really hard at. Right, I'm listening to Lane Johnson talk about having the opportunity to have that mentorship, role in the same way that Kelsey had, with both Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson.
Okay.
And with as big of a hole as they have at that guard spot, I think you could see them draft a guy that has the opportunity to be able to get you get that guy that can play guard, and then when Lane Johnson retires, kick out the tackle.
Okay.
And if you have an opportunity to solidify that position, that to me is worth spending a first round pick on, because of the fluctuation that they have there, right? There is
Yeah.
not a ton of stability, right? You've got Tyler Steen, who has filled in but is unproven in terms of being in there in a full-time role, right? You got the kid that they just traded from the Texans, who is a project at best. You got the guy that they brought in from Miami. I think just knowing the way that they draft O line, D line seems to me like where they kind of go in that first pick.
Yeah, and you have Keegan too from Michigan,
Yeah.
Also true.
who played well in training camp and the preseason, but I think he got hurt, so he'll be in the mix as well. But if there's a guy there, I mean, if Stout has a guy and he is like, this is a guy we need to bring in, I think Howie is, more willing and ready to pull the trigger and make that kind of move. I mean, Jalen Hunt, I mean, different position, and later in the draft, but
Sure.
that Vic Fangio went to Howie and was like, Howie, this is my kind of guy. This is the guy I want to bring in. He's got all the intangibles. He's going to fit my scheme, and I think he's going to be a coachable piece to what I'm looking for in my defensive alignment. And obviously he played well. He wasn't. They didn't plan on playing him as much as they did. I think they were going to probably try to redshirt him, but he played because of need, and he played. I think he played better. I think he played way better than expected. I mean, he played a lot of snaps. He was starting. He was a rotational piece. He was, he held up through the grind, and he was never. I don't remember any parts of any game where he was out of place or a play was blown up or something didn't work out because of Jalen Hunt. Like, if you can bring in a guy on the offensive line, like you're talking about, Don, with a guy like Stoutland, I mean, if they're all on board with it, I have absolutely no problem with it because that's something that you're going to have to do. I mean, Lane's getting old. Lane's one play away from his career possibly being over. So it's definitely a conversation and it's something that they have to plan for.
I mean, at a position where we saw a ton of depth, right? You saw Fred Johnson leave, right? You saw like, and he was a key piece, right? When Mailata got hurt, and he fills in for that stretch when he's hurt in the middle of the season. Like the cast of characters behind that first group, as impressive as that first group is, right? You're talking about Kenyon Green, Matt Pryor, Kendall Lamb, Brett Toth, Tyler Steen, Trevor Keegan, right? That it's a thin group, so that's why I think like they have, if they have an opportunity, and again, it obviously all depends on what's there and what's available, but like, what's a position that you're excited for them to add?
Yeah, probably safety. I mean, safety, D end and D line. I think there's multiple guys at each one of those positions that can come in and do, that are plug and play kind of guys.
Sure.
Malachi Starks from Georgia. He's got the size. He's got the intangibles. He played at Georgia, so he's been part of a winning culture and a winning scheme. So he's all over. I think he's the main guy in the first round of that's high on the Eagles board. The safety, I think his name, what is it, Reed? Is it Reed or Winston out of Penn State? They're, I think, projecting him possibly in the second round. But then at
Winston Jr., Kevin Winston Jr.
Yeah. And then at end of D tackle, you have Nolan. I like the guy Nolan. I think he's from Ole Miss.
Walter Nolan.
Walter Nolan. That's the guy that I have my eye on for D line, and then the guy from South Carolina, Sanders. And then there's a plethora of defensive ends. It's just, are they the kind of guys that Vic's gonna be on board with? Are they the kind of guys that Vic likes? We'll see. I mean, we'll see when we get to that pick, and we'll see what direction they go with. But they have to be coachable pieces. They have to be guys that are going to come in and contribute. whether rotational pieces or if they feel like they could start.
Sure.
Uh,
Joe,
but
what if I told you that the Eagles have never drafted a safety in the first round?
I believe it.
well, there's a first time for everything,
Well,
dog.
and Joe,
Hell yes, brother.
the guy
Hell
that
yeah.
you're talking about, Jalen Reed, right? I'm looking at a mock draft that was put out by Dave Zingaro and Ruben Frank, and they have the Eagles taking Jalen Reed in the 5th round at pick
Oh wow.
165. So, like, if that's a pick that I like, right? Later on in the draft, that intrigues me. Because I think about the guys that are going to be the most expensive to when that second contract comes up are going to be the guys in the interior, right? Your O line, your D line, and it's a lot cheaper to sign a safety if you have to replace that position rather than if you have to replace O line. So like I like the idea of like getting like if you, and we listen, we all know how this team is built, right? This team is built inside. There are a couple of edge guys. The one edge guy from Ohio State. Can't pronounce.
Sawyer. Oh no, the other. I struggled with most of the.
I'm
JT Timiamolawalu.
there. You
Yeah.
go.
Timawala.
Right,
Just
like
call him JTT.
right, like he's coming off a year with 12 and a half sacks, right? So you know that they had a lot of big time games, so you know that he's produced on some big stages. I just all right, so this is a two-part question. I'm curious what your thoughts are about tight end, right? Because the writing on the wall is Dallas Goedert. Is he a draft day? Is he moved on during the draft? And then two, how do you address the draft? How do you address the tight end position, right? Because the guys that they've brought in combined with Calcaterra are like a very very unimpressive group.
Where are you going to move Goddard to in the draft? That kind of.
No, I'm saying like, is he dealt at some point during the draft?
I mean, hopefully we can find a suitor for him. I mean, that would be excellent. But
I think their price. I think they want. I think the Eagles want too much.
I mean, listen, at this point,
just get rid of him.
Take anything,
right? Because if you're not gonna, this. I mean, he's a sit duck. This is the last year of his deal. You know, you're at a point where you're trying to get your financials in line. You're gonna have to rework a deal or trade him or release him. I mean, those are the only options. But he's 30 years old, so
yeah.
You put yourself in a spot. I mean, he's awesome when he's on the field, but he's not consistent, and you can't re-sign him for starting caliber money at that age for a guy who
is going to miss 4, 5, 6 games every year.
Right, he's in and out of the lineup. I mean, it's just. I mean, if he was like 27, 26, maybe even 28,
sure,
but he's 30 and he's just not, your best ability is your availability, and he's not available enough to get a deal. I mean, if I'm him, you're not going to get what you're looking for. Just ride it out, maybe rework the deal for this year, or maybe add a year, maybe a dummy year, and take less money. But I think the Eagles are just trying to get younger. I mean, the Eagles are just trying to get younger across the board. So I think they're just gonna, at some point, he's just gonna get moved. And if that happens, then I mean, for me, I see them probably going tight end in the second round.
Yeah.
If Dallas gets moved.
I mean, I think it would spit in the face of everything that they've done this offseason for them to go get and sign, even if they re-sign him for a reworked deal with less money, to sign a guy who's going to be 30, who you can pencil him in for 5 or 6 games that he's going to miss in the middle of the season. You're right, Joe. When he's on the field, it's spectacular. It's great. It's great what he does in the run game, the weapon that he is to be able to the routes that he runs. It's great, but he's not on the field consistently enough to be able to justify it.
Right.
talk to me about because there are going to be some guys like the round that I'm looking at is like round 3, either like 3 or 4, and there's a handful of guys that are in that could be available in that round 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you got like Fannin Jr.,
And
tight end from Bowling Green. Your
And you got
boy,
the Bowling Green
yeah,
coach, now the quarterback coach.
Joe's boy, Mason Taylor.
Yeah,
Miami, Elijah Arroyo,
Arroyo.
Gunnar Helm, the kid from Oregon. I mean, these are like all later guys, like in the
Right.
5th. But if you're looking at like the 3rd, 4th round, you kind of got those that Fannin Jr., Arroyo, or Taylor. Which I mean,
I think they're all good. Like they're
yeah,
all
they're
they're
solid
all starting
prospects.
caliber tight ends.
Yeah, they're solid prospects. And then again, you get away from the top 4, it falls into nothingness. To be honest with you, Bryce Huff fucked us so much that contract.
Yeah.
What they really need to do is next year rework that and get rid of him. They need to find out some way to
Just
just
take right. They're just take
rework that contract, get whatever that won't put us in cap hell when we cut him or trade him and be
right.
gone.
Give us an 8th round pick. We'll take it.
Dude,
Yeah.
just give us a broken washer and we'll take it. Doesn't even matter at this point. Like fucking semi-pro, we got a washing machine for him.
We'll take a clubhouse attendant
Yeah, well,
That
like
was terrible.
and a bag of towels.
yeah, we'll
It
take
was
actually
such
just a
a it
bag
was
of
such
towels.
a miss, and we talked about him before the season started, and I was like, yeah, I'd be happy with 8 to 10 sacks. And what do we get? I don't even think we got 2.
I think we got
A
one.
sack and a half.
And that's like the sad part because we would be in a fine position if we didn't waste that money. But sorry, we got 2 years left. Yeah,
You're
I
not
just think
looking at the end in the draft, really. If Bryce Huff is hits and he's your guy, you got Nolan Smith, you got Jalix Hunt, and then you got these other,
yeah,
Ojolari and the guy Uche. Like we wouldn't even be talking about D end in the draft. It would be D tackle and safety.
I know. That's
Defensive end
fucking
wouldn't
crazy.
even be an afterthought. But he couldn't even get on the field. He was inactive in the Super Bowl. How
Yeah,
awful do you have to be playing to be inactive in the Super Bowl?
Pretty bad.
pretty fucking
Completely,
terrible.
he's lost. Completely lost all year.
Pretty freaking bad.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm taking any of those tight ends, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I
All
mean,
right, Rich, run us through your mock.
oh man. Ah, so the mock, let's see which one I'll pull up. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. All right, my drafts. Here we go. All right, so the first, let's one do I like the most? All right, I like this one.
All right.
So what we did was at pick 32, I ended up taking Nick Amanawari from South Carolina.
Okay.
And then in round 2, because the way it fell, I also took his teammate, Demetrius Knight Jr., the linebacker from South Carolina. Then Zy Alexander, the cornerback from LSU.
Okay.
Then I took the edge guy, Q Robinson, and Jeffrey Bassett from Oregon. And then in the 5th, finally, the last 3 were Luke Kandra, the guard from Cincy, Jake
Okay.
Ringenstool from Clemson, and then Vernon Broughton, the D lineman from Texas. That's what one of mine looked like.
Okay.
But again, it's like I like safety first. I think that's your best option if you're sitting at 32 and those guys are there. That's who I would pick. I would go for safety because to be honest with you, I think that's what we truly need. I'm not 1,000% sold on Sidney Brown.
Right.
So it's
Neither am
kind of
I.
like, all right, what do you do there? And if
But
all the big
then,
rushers are gone, all the big edge rushers are gone, I don't. I'm worried. So here's why I kept looking at linebacker. I'm really worried about the N'Kobe Dean knee injury, and I'm
okay.
worried about the depth behind it. Who's playing next to Bond this year?
Right. So
Full
right
dude.
now, right when
Right
you
now, we
look,
Trotter Jr. or
Yeah,
it'd be Trotter
Trotter
Jr.
Jr.
yeah,
Nobody.
I mean you've got Ben Van Sumeren who's going to be
Who's
your
fullback?
fullback, right?
Yeah,
So you've got on the roster currently, right behind Zach Bond is Jeremiah Trotter Jr., right? And There's a guy that I've never heard of in Dallas Gant.
Yeah.
So, like, you're pretty much talking about Zach Bond and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So
Right.
you're gonna need some warm bodies. Listen, Rich, I don't think any of those positions of need. If you took a guy there, I don't think that you're going to get a whole lot of arguing from everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get people who are going to be a giant pain in the ass and complain about anything, but like they wouldn't be Eagles fans if they didn't do that. So,
Yeah.
but like I look at this and go like, you can justify taking a lot of different positions.
Yeah.
And be okay with it. Right behind, like at safety, you're talking about Reed Blankenship and Tristan McCollum and Lewis Seen and Sidney Brown.
And Tristan McCollum stinks.
And right, yeah. I mean, we saw that at the end of the Super Bowl. I mean, mind you, they were up by like
April 29th, as my boy Mark Worley would say. Shout out to Mark Worley. On April 29th, you will see the signing of Justin Simmons.
Yeah. Well, you're like Rich Stradamus right there, because that was going to be my next thing. What's a move you can see happening post draft?
If they don't get the safety that they want, it's going to be Simmons. If they don't get the edge rushers they want, you're probably going to see Judon or
Darius.
Zacharias. What's his name?
Zadarius Smith.
Zadarius Smith.
Who, still productive at 32.
And you're going to see those guys. And you're going to see a lot of guys who are going to, as free agency gets deeper, are going to want to take those vet minimum deals to come. And I mean, it's all good. It's all good for us.
Yeah, it's first, second, and third round. No particular order. It's going to be safety, defensive line, which includes the end, and tight end for me. Because I can't see them with the way that the season's going, the way that they're building their team, the way that they're trying to save money. I just can't see them bringing a 30-year-old tight end back who's just not. He's not available, and it's a money thing, and it's an age thing. So, and they're trying to get away from that. So it's going to be D-line, safety, and tight end.
I agree.
I like it. Any other draft stuff we missed, folks? Is there anything going on in the draft? Any player from college that you're intrigued? Let's talk about Tyler Warren for half a second.
Yeah.
Where's an ideal landing spot for him?
With us.
Well, I mean, yeah.
He's going top 10, right?
You would think, but I don't. But here's the thing:
the mock that I'm looking at has him at 20.
He won't fall. He won't last.
And there, in this particular mock, Joe, there's another the tight end from Michigan is going ahead of him.
Yeah, that's too much of a reach, I think. Warren's the guy. Who picks? And I don't have it in front of me. Who picks from between 10 and 15?
I'll tell you right now.
I got it right here. All right, so at 10, Chicago, San Fran, Dallas, Miami, Indy, Atlanta, Arizona, Cincy, Seattle, Tampa, and Denver, and then Pittsburgh at 21.
I mean, I know they have Ferguson in Dallas, but I mean, pair him up with Dak, CeeDee Lamb. Never know. Never know what the fuck Jerry's doing.
Bro,
Jerry doesn't know what Jerry's doing.
No.
To be completely honest with you, I'm looking. Tennessee's got the.
What's their second pick?
Is Bwande. I'm just going down, like looking like
they're rough.
Like tight ends. Njoku. I don't know who the Giants have. Oh, they had that rookie from last year, Hunter Henry. Jaguars don't have a tight end. Then you got Brock Bowers, Conklin, Sanders, Cole Kmet, Juwan Johnson, George Kittle, Ferguson, Jonnu Smith, if he's still on, who was pretty good with Miami. Then you have
two teams that the Colts
or the Falcons.
You know what?
Yeah,
In the same,
because they're not going to keep. They're not
in
going
this,
to.
Yeah.
so here's my comp for Tyler Warren. Remember Dallas Clark,
Hell yeah, remember Dallas Clark,
right? Like that.
Mr.
Like
Reliable.
they seem like they are
100 catches a
two.
year.
Right. Like they seem like they are very, very identical players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both from the Big Ten, right? Both just catch everything and anything. And I think utilizing Dallas Clark, utilizing Tyler Warren in the same way that like Baltimore utilizes, Mark Andrews.
Imagine if he falls to fucking the Chargers. He'd be a
Oh God.
problem with Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Or Bo Nix.
Maybe
Like
they'll
at
move up.
20,
Yeah,
Bo Nix. I
I
could
would
see
agree.
that.
Yeah, because who is their tight end? I don't even know.
They don't have one. They released that Greg Dolchis dude. He's off the
Oh,
team.
right. That's right. That's right.
That was the guy that they were high on. And Seattle has a blaring need for tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seattle's picking
18.
18.
So, I mean, unless they go elsewhere, and then I could see him falling.
Who's
We would have to
5
get in
through
front of
10?
the Chiefs. We would have to get in front of the Chiefs.
Who's 5 through 10? Picks 5 through 10.
Picks 5 through 10 are you have Jacksonville, Oakland, Jets, Carolina, Saints, and Bears.
Carolina. Who's Carolina's tight end?
Jatavian Sanders. They just drafted him last year.
Is he good?
He's pretty decent. I mean, he was coming on, but then he got hurt. He had they got fucking like demolished. Fucking took his head off. I could see him going to what? That's what happened. I could see him going to Carolina, but they need a defense. Like,
I mean, Carolina needs everything.
yeah,
They're
and they
not
don't have any wide
necessarily a
receivers.
franchise.
I mean, they just need everything.
They're an awful ownership, awful franchise.
And have no wide receivers. They are probably going to take that kid, whatchamacallit, to pair him with Bryce Young, to McMillan.
Oh, yeah. Arizona? Yeah.
Yeah. They'll probably take that kid. They need something. I think Adam Thielen is their dude. Oh, and they had the kid from South Carolina. I forget.
Xavier Legette.
Xavier
Legette.
Legette. But
Legette, who was, an inch or two from loose. We almost lost. Like, I was at that game.
Yeah.
When he couldn't quite secure that ball at the goal line. We were sweating it out, man. Because the angle, he split the defenders and he caught that ball, and I looked at my son and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. We thought he caught it.
I thought he did too on TV.
We thought he caught it because he went to the ground. You couldn't see if the ball wasn't secured properly. We had no idea until they went through the whole lengthy replay. But I was like, really, we're gonna lose to Carolina? We can't lose to Carolina.
Carolina? Not
we,
today.
we can look back at it now and laugh about it, but it
Most definitely.
wasn't our best moment.
Not at all. Final thoughts, fellas?
Nah.
When are we gonna see spring, man? We need to get some.
Yo, the weather sucks.
We need some sun. I need some sunlight. Need some, some little bit of warmth. I need So I feel like I'm still in hibernation. I feel like it's still wintertime. We need to get some sun and some warm weather going here, so we can get outside and get on the grill. I mean, I grill and cook outside year round, no matter what. But it'd be nice to sit outside and watch a Phillies game and cook out and have a beverage and just enjoy the outdoors, man. I can't wait till we can get into that. Where we're still in that pocket of, a day or two that's warm, and then it's 40 and it's 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it's 25 degrees in the morning.
Yep.
It's like, come on, Mother Nature.
Yeah, this wearing the coat in the morning.
I hate it.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like shoving it in the bottom of my school bag on the way home. It's just annoying.
It is.
Listen, the fun, Joe, to keep you warm. I spent this week going back and listening, trying to listen through some of our episodes from the Eagles season, just because it was just I was feeling a little nostalgic. Some of those episodes early, we were it was pretty dark. Those episodes through like week 5, not week 5, but
Dude,
like through the Browns game.
the
Like,
sky was falling.
oh my
It
God,
was.
Rich, you wanted to fire Nick. You and I were there was an episode you and I were trying to fire Nick Sirianni into the sun.
I still want to. I
When
still
was
want
that?
to.
When was the whole episode with the fan? Was that the Browns game?
That was the Browns game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we were man, like the episode after the Bucks game was like this team is the same team we saw last year. It really it was wild to kind of listen to the progression of like those first 5 weeks. Because even like we all we talk about is like right from post bye they lost one game, but like to listen to that progression of like how they started and really it was sketchy all the way through week 5,
Yeah.
and then just that the episodes got a lot happier after week 5.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to listen to like to go back and listen to like the week by week and just go like it was ugly. The beginning of this season was ugly.
It
And
was.
you know, for I think for any of us to sit here at when we were at week 4 and go after the bye, they're going to lose one game and they're going to smoke everybody and their mother
Yeah.
and take on and score 55 in the NFC Championship game and be blowing the Chiefs out
And
40 to 6 at
dismantle
one point.
the
Like
2-time. Yeah. I still don't believe. I don't. I still. I mean, I know it happened, and I know it's real, but it's so crazy when all of those clips pop up on TikTok and Twitter.
Joe,
And
take your hat off,
dude,
turn it to the side, and look at the score.
oh yeah, there it is.
There it
Yeah.
is. There's your evidence. You
Help
don't need it.
ass.
Shout out to
42.
Sidney Gardner Johnson. We love you, buddy. Good luck down there in Houston. Hopefully you do well, but you guys don't win too many games. But
CJ.
yeah, we'll miss you, bro. Crazy, man. It really is crazy that we dominated them. We totally dismantled them from
We did.
play one to the last play of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't even a game. Like, we're all watching it. I don't know how you guys were, but it was like, it's 7-0, then it's 10-0. Then
Yep.
I mean, I thought that my roof was gonna cave in when Coop took that ball back for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was surreal, man. It was
Yeah.
surreal that we made Patrick Mahomes, look like an undrafted
That's
quarterback. And I mean, everything was hit. I mean, other than Barkley, but that's what it was. They were so worried about Saquon that they were like, Jalen, you're gonna have to beat us. And he was like, watch this.
And I'm curious, like post draft, I'm curious as this roster starts to take shape and they start to talk about mini camp and training camp. I'm curious to see and maybe look at the roster and see how this offense could evolve.
Yeah.
Right? They can't. That they're not going to be able to run it back and do the same thing. They're going to have to switch it up a little bit. And I'm curious to see how what that looks like. But all that for another episode.
Yep.
Roman, Rich, take us home. What you got?
Well, that's Don. And Joe. It's so weird that it's mirrored. It's really hard to point. That's Joe. We're drunk on broad. Thanks for joining us this week. Don't forget, draft in 2 weeks. Tune in next week to see us. But you stuck around, you fucked around, you found out. Ben Simmons, fuck you. Spike Eskin, he still sucks. ESP, fuck you too, dude. Like, you're so annoying. You're so
He's
annoying.
such a weasel.
Dude, you're such a weasel. Fuck Jeff McClain. fuck Kansas City, and always fuck Dallas. We're Drunk on Broad. We love you. We'll see you next time.
The
Go Birds.
absolute glory.
Go
hole.
Birds!
Go Birds.
Go Birds!
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!